What's up, David?
Chilling, my brother.
Yeah. All right. What's up, everybody? How's it going? Oh, look at this.
What?
It's Ronja.
You guys here?
Wow, nice to see you guys.
That's so nice.
What's up, everybody?
What's up, beautiful people? So we're just chilling here in the south of Spain, following the most epic Ecstatic Awakening Retreat to date.
It was
As
epic.
life happens, things keep on getting better, and that was the case with this retreat. It just blew us all away into the cosmos in the most beautiful way. And Jonathan is in 20 minutes going to the airport.
Hopping on a flight, gonna go to Latvia. Yeah.
Keeping the flow, riding
So we're
the
like,
flow.
let's go. Well, we're recording and we're going live at the same time.
Yeah.
And what we were tuning in, because we were sitting here before and we were like, what can we share with these beautiful humans on their journey of life that would be of the most service? And something that we all just recognize that we all have in common is that for the last number of years we have been living in this kind of way where we just really follow wherever we are called. And so in other words, wherever the biggest aliveness, wherever the biggest alignment is, we're like, okay, we're going there. Brain might know why, brain might know the reason why that's the case, but our deeper guidance and our intuition knows, you know, that this is where we need to be. And the thing is that when we follow our aliveness and we follow our inspiration, it's so easy to look back and be like, oh, that's why we had to go there and that's why that had to happen.
Right.
But the cool thing is that the more we do this, the more we start to trust this, and the more we can begin to cruise that forwards. And in a sense, it's like reverse engineering our future by following that aliveness. Yeah. And so you didn't know, like 2 days ago, that you were going to Latvia?
Totally.
Right?
Yeah, I had plans to go to Ibiza, and I was feeling a yes, but it wasn't like a fuck yes. You know, it was like, I'm going there to get some work done. I've been there before, but like something I could feel inside me wanted me to go somewhere else, and I didn't know where that was going to be. And there was a moment where I almost like got in a state of fear or like not knowing what was going to happen, and in that moment I caught myself and I said, no, this or something greater is unfolding. And it was this moment where I activated that faith muscle, right? It was that muscle of faith, and the more that we can practice and cultivate that mindset of knowing that everything is in the right place at the right time right now, and that taking it to the next level is like, you know, we talk about getting into flow consciousness, and one of the hacks for that is to say, what is most exciting to me right now? What is my highest excitement? And I just kind of tuned into that, and I just allowed, and suddenly epiphanies and opportunities started to unfold before me, and next thing I know, now I'm on a flight to Latvia.
What are you going to do in Latvia? This is a pretty random place to go to.
Yeah, I'm going to a conference to meet up with a bunch of crypto engineers and work on a potential new project that we're tuning in to the field, to this emerging opportunity, this emerging fuck yes potential. And we don't know if there's a right or wrong way, but we're going to walk in faith. We're going to walk in that flow and say, okay, this or something better is emerging. So what is it?
Right, and you have no idea what's going to unfold at this conference. All you know is that there's this feeling of aliveness, which is like your compass in this instance.
Totally.
So you don't know if you're going to meet somebody and you're going to invest and make a bunch of money. You don't know if you're going to find your next business partners. You don't know, maybe you're going to meet the love of your life.
Yes.
Maybe you're going to meet a mentor who's going to teach you about something completely unrelated to crypto.
Right.
Maybe you're going to end up mentoring somebody and changing their life who's going to have a huge impact in the world. Like you have no idea what's going to unfold from this.
Right.
All you know is that in your nervous system and in your body, it feels good. And this is what we talk about a lot in the Ecstatic Awakening Retreat, which is this: we have an innate blueprint for genius that's trying to work its way through us. And it's not always logical, but it's like this soul, whatever you want to call it, the soul is, you know, one word for it, is like trying to find its path to individuation in the world and trying to bloom fully. And we can tell when our spirit or our intelligence gets caught in a little whirlpool because there's a constant nagging. It's called blessed unrest by some. That's like, ooh,
Blessed unrest.
ooh, like
I love
there's
that.
something you're getting out of this, but like you're going to need to leave. And some of us will just ignore and
It's like
repress
your soul
that.
that's like tugging at your clothes and it's
like,
come this way,
just
come
come
this way.
over here.
Yeah.
And we all know what it's like when we finally, you know, take that step into or out of that relationship, when we finally take that step into or out of that job, or say yes to come to the Ecstatic Awakening Retreat, or say no, I'm not going to come to the Ecstatic Awakening Retreat and do something else, which ends up being perfect for us. We just like, present moment, listening.
Yeah, and so one reason why we're sharing this with all of you guys is because we heard so many people who are like, well, we want to do what you do, we want to travel the world, and we want to do this, but it's like, I don't have the whole plan staked out yet. And there seems to be this misconception that before you go on the journey, before you get on that plane, before you get on that train ride, that you need to have everything figured out. And speaking from experience, I've been traveling pretty much constantly for the last 10 years. It's like the saying that we did a Facebook Live recently, and we were talking about how it's not, you know, people don't take trips, trips take people. And when you allow the trip to take you, when you allow the journey to take you, when you follow that stream of aliveness, basically this is how we do it, is that in any moment we're open to the flow of life, and we're noticing through synchronicities, through meetings, through little hints being dropped by people, by places, by the universe, following where that aliveness is and watching how circumstances appear and rearrange and nudging you forward. So just an example, we were going to be in Greece for a month, or we thought that we were going to be in Greece for a month, and then Gabriel was like, I have this feeling like I really want to go to Beloved Festival in Portland. And I was like, oh, we have this plan to be in Greece for a month, but I was like, okay, well, if Gabriel wants to go to Portland, we'll go to Portland. And then 10 minutes later, so we were on Corfu, most beautiful island in Greece. No one in the right mind would just like leave, but for some reason this guy is like, I feel called to go to Beloved, and I was like, oh, but that's where like Desert Dwellers and Porangi and the Ecstatic Awakening artists are playing, and Jonathan is going to be there, and then it turns out that Ginny and Oscar, founders of the I Trust You movement, they're also going to be there. So everything was like yes. 10 minutes later, we're looking at flights, and we book flights to go to Portland. We ended up going past London, doing 2 events, attending 1 business mastermind, meeting amazing people. Then we're at Beloved Festival, having just the most beautiful, multidimensional, expansive time ever. And that then starts leading to things. And I actually meet, I mean, there's so many things, but specifically one woman at like the last evening at midnight. I asked her to hold an Ecstatic Awakening poster while I put some other stuff up, or actually her friend, who then introduces me to her, and she's like, I know you. And then it turns out that she's been doing workshops with Ryle and Jason from Authentic Relating Training International, and then she saw a video with me and Jason, so she was like, Ronja, I've seen your videos. The next day she applies for the Ecstatic Awakening Retreat, and her ex-boyfriend is the organizer of the cryptocurrency conference that Jonathan is flying to in 2 hours.
So just breathe this in. So I decide, I listen in this moment, we're in Greece, we're on this paradise island. We're going to do a retreat in a month in Europe. It makes sense for us to stay in Europe.
Yeah.
I listen to my heart, and it tells me I need to be in Oregon right now. We take financial risks, you know, or whatever that's a word to call it. Like we do the less easy, the kind of the path of, not the path of least resistance. It would have been easier to just stay.
Yeah.
But it just felt clear. So we go. Then we meet this woman who comes to the retreat, and it like obviously is a huge thing for her, what she unlocked within herself during that process. And then because she's there and she connects with Jonathan, now the trajectory of his life has been completely changed.
And what I love about this,
it's just like you kind of get it. This is like, and by the way, this is like 1/10 of these kind of things from the last
glimpse
month
of the total picture.
But what I love about this is that we didn't actually talk about this before this moment right now.
I just realized it right now.
We just realized it now, that decision that you made
I didn't
1 month ago is literally changing the trajectory
you
of my life.
guys saw it on camera. I don't know if you noticed.
In the greatest way possible.
But Jonathan and I were just looking at each other like,
oh,
whoa, it just clicked.
God.
I just realized this as I was saying it. But
Right.
yeah.
So that those are those moments where it's like, okay, we're listening to our soul's vibration, right? And there might be this like discoherence or something that feels out of alignment. That's our internal guidance system. We tune in, and the beautiful thing about it is that the only time that you could access this technology is literally in this moment right now. And this is where we can expand our capacity to tune into that technology and start to build our trust and our faith in how we utilize it. And so sometimes it's saying yes, sometimes it's saying no. Sometimes we can even feel ourselves being triggered by something, and that trigger is actually it calling us to grow or expand or to shift in some way, right? So it could feel like something uncomfortable. Some people are like, oh, I feel out of alignment with my soul. And it's like, okay, well, let's work with that. Let's play with that. Let's go deeper into that, because there's something here emerging. And if we can just sit with it long enough, listen to it deep enough, we can allow for that to unfold. And the last thing that I'll share on that is that I really believe that like our soul's unfolding is kind of like the Fibonacci sequence, right? Like it's we are becoming more of what we are being right now, right? So who are you being right now? How in alignment are you? And even in a state where everything's falling apart, can you say this is perfect and I am tuning into the greatest potential for this future, for this life right now, even when things are not going as according to plan.
And so you might be wondering in this moment, like, well, how do I know if I'm in alignment? How do I know if I'm on the path, so to speak? How do I know if I'm actually following this? And so a couple of things. So one, internally, you'll notice that when you're in alignment, you receive things in a really relaxed and expanded way. And so just to bring it back to the nudges from life, and so right now we're here in south of Spain, just after the Ecstatic Awakening Retreat. Our plan right now is that, well, first of all, in 2 days we're going to Italy for a few weeks. We don't know exactly how long, but we're going to be in Italy for a few weeks starting 2 days from now. And then our plan was to fly back over to the United States for a few months, and starting in Seattle, because that's where our car was parked. We parked our car, Olivia, with our friend in Seattle to fly to Seattle and then drive to Portland and so on. And then basically a few days ago,
the day after my birthday, September 2nd, my car was stolen from where we decided to park it in Seattle at our friend's house. Like, for the second time. This is the second time that car has been stolen. The first time it was returned and, recovered.
So it makes you wonder.
So here's the thing. Our plan was going to be to go back to Oregon and then work our way to Sedona. But now,
by car, like doing a road trip from Seattle, Portland down to Sedona. But now the universe is basically, and this is the thing, when the universe makes drastic readjustments to our life that we don't necessarily feel are like consensual, like our car being stolen, and we have to just like breathe into that and relax and surrender into that. Like it's like the universe kind of saying like re-navigating route. You know what I mean? Like we had this idea, this plan, and this can happen in any moment. This can happen literally, like you never know when one day your partner's gonna come home and say, I've been feeling into it and like I just need space. Or you never know when you're gonna walk into work that day and just get fired or get laid off. You never know, and in that moment you have a choice, or get laid. You never know when you're gonna walk into a grocery store. You're single. Walk into a grocery store, meet somebody, like you're reaching for the same apple, and you like touch hands, and you're just like,
I'm gonna try that next time.
It's on, you know what I mean?
Next time I see a pretty girl at the store.
You really don't know. And so this is the thing. It's like, and we try to like we can't logically understand the plan that's unfolding through us in any given moment. You know what I mean? So it's like my car gets stolen, I could be like, poor me, my car gets stolen. And like, dude, I love that car. I've been through so much with that car.
We've been on many road trips with that car.
But just going back to that.
Wait. Yeah, so because this is the point that I was going to make. How do we respond when life recalculates route? Because both of us, we could be, so actually funnily enough, like pretty close to when we just met or a few months after, both of us had pretty much everything we owned stolen. True. And just like rebuilt from zero. And now here, we didn't get everything we owned stolen, but our car was stolen. And the coolest thing was, like, I'm coming up for lunch, Gabriel's sitting there with like Ashley and Parangi talking, they're like laughing about something, and Mani is there from Desert Dwellers, and I'm like, what's up? And then Gabriel or somebody tells me, it's like, oh yeah, our car was stolen. And I just started laughing. I'm like, that's hilarious. That's so funny. No and I'm like, how are you feeling about it? And he's like, yeah, I'm good. You know, when we had like some boxes with like a bunch of like stuff and some art and some clothes and some different things, plus our car, and there's like things we wanted to keep but just like we left there. But the thing is that in this moment when our car gets stolen, both of us are pretty fucking cheerful. Like we are both just like, oh, well, so this is happening.
And this is the muscle of faith. This is the kind of what, So the first time my car got stolen, I had way more valuables in there. Like everything I valued, practically and sentimentally, from my hiking boots to my backpack that I had backpacked the wilderness with, to like literally my mom's crystals, my mom who passed away, you know, like half my lifetime ago, you know, all of her, like this photo album of hand-selected photos I had picked of my family growing up. Like some of the most sentimentally and like spiritually charged objects that I possess, as well as practical objects, right? And I had just to surrender and breathe into that, like ego death. And my life now is amazing. You know what I mean? And so it's like this looking back at things that we perceive as tragedies and seeing how they are actually like compost, or how they are actually like these necessary realignments and readjustments. Like in a sense, it was like, depending on the words you try to use to describe it, it was like this immense burning of karma almost in a moment. Like almost like I had this opportunity to look at it and be like, wow, I must have done something really cruel in like a past life or earlier this life or something, and like, or I must have done something really amazing in a past life, in this life, and the universe is like,
for letting go of this because I don't need it anymore.
See, it's all words. It's like whatever it is, the mechanism is, whether I'm being punished or rewarded, or it's just is, like you just have, when the universe like puts something so inarguably in front of your face, you just have to work with it.
That's it.
And so to bring it back to the point that what's happening now is that now we're here, we're about to go to Rome and to Tuscany and to go to Italy for a few weeks. Then our plan was to go back to Seattle and to Oregon, but now, because we don't have a car anymore, we're free to go anywhere.
We don't know.
Which is great. And so now it looks like we're going to go earlier to Sedona and just be there. And as a result of our car being stolen, now we have the freedom to go to Sedona earlier and be a part of this event that Porangi and Ataya and This Dwellers and who else, like a bunch of other Yaima's going to be there, or like there's a Resonate Festival. Nice. Yeah, so come to Sedona and hang out with us in Resonate Festival. So October 10th to the 13th. And so basically, so you get the principle, right? It's like we are on an aligned path. Life is mirroring that by bringing to us the aligned people, places, circumstances, and event that match that frequency. And if going to Seattle wasn't the aligned path for us, then life then removed the car, so that now we're going to Phoenix earlier, and then we're going to be in a new, literally in a new, not in a new country, but like in a new place at a different time, that then we would have had everything gone, what we call like according to plan. And this is the faith muscle. Oh, the light is changing. This is the faith muscle, because the thing is that if we had been other people or these people but in the past, we could have been like, oh, that's terrible. And now our default response, because we trust life, is simply just like, oh, this is awesome, I wonder what's going to happen next, like what do you got life? And so that's the whole point, is that the more you actually play with this and the more you actually trust this, the more you begin to trust it in advance, even when things seem to not work out the way you want them to. You can kind of pre-assume that even if it looks a bit messy, it is actually perfect. It's actually even better than whatever the original plan was. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's almost like, you know, applying this to your life in this present moment really becomes such a potent tool for consciousness, because, you know, no matter what, you can see the synchronicities in the story, right? It happened in the past, and then there's, you know, certain things that are unfolding for your future based on losing the car. And so, you know, the fact that so much alignment has come from that one decision that you guys made, for my life, for, you know, this new project that I get to step into is such a fuck yes for me. Like, it feels in such deep alignment, even on a soul level. And it's like, you know, I had to go through those series of steps, but in those series of steps, in every moment, there was always that mindset, you know, of just saying yes. You know, and that was one of the big themes that came up this Ecstatic Awakening. You know, everyone was saying yes. We're like, yes, yes. And we were whispering, yes. You know, it was like we were subconsciously saturating our mind and body with this yesness, to just say yes to every emerging experience that's happening. And when you do that, there is a lack of resistance, right? There's no more resistance. So then we become like these frictionless manifestors of our reality, you know? We have this ability to just like allow for the unfolding. And when there's resistance, there's entropy. And when there's effortlessness, there's syntropy, higher degrees of order and alignment. And so just tuning into that, like, you know, the vibrating plate with the salt, and then they turn on the frequency, you know, and the vibration kind of changes the shapes of the salt. That's syntropy. So the
Look
higher...
up cymatics, right? Cymatics.
Yeah, cymatics, yeah.
Cymatics.
Yeah, so, you know, tuning into, like, what would that feel like in your mind and your body, and even on a soul level, to just say yes in this moment to everything that's happening around you. And a lot of times some of the hardest things to say yes to are those blind spots of our trauma, our stories, the things that we're holding on to, those old things that, you know, the grudges that we hold about people, or what we think that people are thinking about us, you know, those kind of personality characteristics that keep us locked into a certain way of thinking and seeing the world, and then also a certain way of feeling. And that feeling factor, you know, of how are you feeling right now? Are you feeling in alignment? Even though things are falling apart, can you just take a deep breath and say yes to what is?
And even when saying yes, one distinction here that comes up for me is even when saying yes is saying no. Like even when it's saying yes to a no inside of you, like creating a boundary, for example. Like saying yes isn't like, it's this going with the flow, but sometimes the flow is, okay, in order to create a new flow for me over here that feels more aligned, the yes that feels like it's welling up inside of me is like, no. I don't want to do this because there's a yes pulling me this way. You know?
Yeah.
It kind of goes together with your no FOMO policy.
Yeah, I have a strict no FOMO policy, because it means that if you're not at that festival or you're not going out with your friends, what you're saying yes to is a rejuvenating night at home, or you're saying yes to whatever else your attention has deemed in coherence and cooperation with the universe is a more aligned use of your time and energy.
And so basically whatever is in alignment. And when you are, we were talking about resistance before, because the thing is that when we are in resistance, we are essentially in a state where the contraction that you feel in the resistance is a signal that you are right now being disconnected from your true self, as well as from all of life. Because when we are in resistance and we go into that space, so for example, say your car is stolen, do you go into this shouldn't be happening? If your partner leaves, do you go into this shouldn't be happening? If you miss the train, do you go into this shouldn't be happening? Or do you trust that you missed the train, but because you're supposed to meet the person on the next train? If your partner leaves, do you trust it because life is bringing deeper alignment for both of you? If your car is stolen, do you trust because life is now course correcting you into deeper alignment? Which means that if you're in resistance, you're basically living in a way where you're like, no, I'm in the driver's seat, disconnected from life, and I know what's best, and this should not be happening. Whereas when you're in trust, you're like, okay, cool, I'm cruising together with life, I'm dancing together with life, everything is co-created. Where am I guided next? Who else am I gonna meet? And you just become curious about what's gonna happen. And the way to do this, literally, is to tune into where you are feeling pulled. And so just before we started filming, Gabriel was expressing, you were like, something really strong is coming through right now. I feel called to go to
Peru.
Yeah. Do you know exactly why? Do you know exactly when?
Yeah, and it's seldom this strong. like kind of the last time it felt as actually clear and strong as this was when I felt called to go to Guatemala and I met Ronja. And this cascade of love and benevolence and learning and lessons and like up leveling has all emerged from that moment. And so just earlier today, like I'm feeling a really strong release of clarity and movement inside my energy system, and like that felt really clear today. So I have no idea. I literally have no idea. I mean, I have kind of some ideas, but like really all I know is that that was really clear and I heard it, and I'm intending to follow through with it.
And this is also relevant in relationships because, for example, as Gabriel's partner, if he says today, he's like, I feel really called to go to Peru, I could go into, well, what are you going to do there? What's our plans? What am I going to do? Where have you looked at places to stay? Like, I could go into like all the 3D details and kind of like cut down the natural impulse. Or I'm in the space because we all three of us live in this way and we trust it. If Gabriel says, I want to go to Peru, I'm like, okay, cool, I guess we're going to Peru. Like, he's like, I want to go to Beloved. I'm like, okay, I guess we're going to Beloved. We're going to Portland, or we're going, you know, wherever that pull is. I also trust that, you know, in each other. And that's how relationally, if you're with a partner and you're traveling together
Or a
like this, and one, or with a friend, and you're like, I feel really strongly called to go there. Because the thing is that now we get to actually intertwine and multiply each other's inner guidance, in the sense of that when he says, I want to go to Peru, I didn't have that inclination myself, but when he says that, I start to like get a glimpse of what awaits in that portal of actually saying yes to that. And I then open up for even more alignment to come in relation for that vortex to begin to fill itself in, and then not just to keep on happening, and the synchronicities begin to kind of be lined up for when we do go there. We don't know exactly when or how, but
and in that moment when we're walking down the street, for example, as a metaphor, when we're walking down the street and Jonathan gets a strong pull to go left at this intersection, we can either, this is a beautiful moment to practice energetic agility and clarity, because we can either be like, oh, he feels like, let's all go with his left ride, let's all go to the left with him, you know what I mean? Or we can be like, oh, no, I actually want to go straight, and we can part and each have our own journey, or we can flow together, and it's like this beautiful trust in like whatever is operating in the group field and on the individual field.
Yeah, and then just to kind of wrap it up here before I have to get taxis to get
so you're not late for your
for that thing that you guys set me up on.
Exactly.
That synchronicity
we
roller coaster.
About maybe like you were like, what are you doing after Ecstatic Awakening? We're like, we're going to Italy. You're like, I might go to Italy. We were even like talking about the possibility of you like coming with us.
Totally.
And now you're going to Latvia with the girl that we met at Beloved, because you know the story.
Yeah. So and what's beautiful about that is that even that transmission that you got to say yes to Peru, you said yes to Peru and yes to Guatemala for the vision quest that we're doing in January.
Yeah.
And so what's cool about that is that the vision quest, like that event, could be on the way to Peru. So it's like even the signs are just like pulling you that direction.
And then Costa Rica in vision February before going to Bali for the next retreats.
Right. Yeah. So, but what's really also interesting is to think about like, so there are these events, right? These people and places and things, which is like the three-dimensional reality. But then when you bring it back into the like fractal nature of what's happening here, we come back into this idea of like, you are becoming more of who you are being. And so if you're saying yes, if you're saying fuck yes to your reality and to everything that's happening, the universe is going to bring you more experiences that make you say fuck yes.
Because it matches
that vibration.
The more fuck yes, the more fuck yes comes. The more fuck yes you are, the more fuck yes comes into your life.
And so that resistance versus that frictionless nature of saying yes to what is just allows for more of that type of experience to happen. And so this is, again, so tangible because we can immediately implement this into our life. You know, we can just start saying yes and like start to become more aware of those edges where we're feeling resistance, we're feeling the ego tug us or hold us back, or maybe old stories that, you know, try to keep us on an old path. And we just start to become more conscious and practice the muscle of saying yes.
So in the beginning of January, Jonathan is organizing this event called Vision Quest 2020 that we were originally not going to be a part of. But then Jonathan asked Gabriel and I, who were like, hey, I'm doing this Vision Quest 2020 at Lake Atitlan, which is this lake in Guatemala with 3 volcanoes on the other side.
Superpower spot.
In the same village, San Marcos. where we first met, and we haven't been back there since then. And then normally we were in Bali in the winter, but now we're going to be in South America. And so when he asked us, do you want to be a part of this event, we're like feeling into our emotional guidance system, thinking for a month. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
We're just feeling into it, and we're like, fuck yes, we can do that.
Feels really
and
good.
so we're like, okay, so let's go to Guatemala. We haven't been back there since we met, so it feels like a really beautiful alignment. And the cool thing about these events is that these events are like vortices or whatever the plural of vortex is. Vortices for alignment, because those events all have people coming together who are living the fuck yes life of following the alignment, traveling the world, meeting people, throwing away the plans when they're on the line, just like saying yes to the adventure. And so in the same way that what we see all the time with the Ecstatic Awakening Retreat is that when people come to the retreat, they're like, okay, this is where I'm going, but then we just like exploded into so many new possibilities. And we see people either go deeper where they were already going, or just completely change their life trajectory into something that's like, maybe they would have gotten there like 5 years down the line, but now through this 8-day event, they just quantum jump so that they can already access that fuck yes future immediately. Yes. And also Vision Quest 2020 is another one of those examples. And so it's like, already by tuning into that's going to happen in January, I'm already feeling like, ooh, who's going to be there? Who are we going to meet? What's going to then come from that space?
That's it.
And so that's also just a hint. And so basically what we want to share with all of this is just follow where you feel called to go. Follow where you feel called to go. And if seemingly something is like pulled out from underneath you, or your plans just like fall apart, just trusting that that is actually life bringing you into deeper alignment, even when things are messy. Because this is not just something that works when everything is according to plan and you're like, I'm on the path, everything is working out. But even when it seems like things are a bit messy, when you can find that deeper trust and pre-assume that it's all perfect, then life begins to mirror that in more and more deeper ways and more accelerated ways. And then you just get to hang out with these kind of people all the time.
Let's do it. Cool, you guys. Well, I think I'm gonna, press end and take my stuff, and I'm gonna go to the airport and get on the airplane, and I'm gonna hop on that plane that I'm riding because you guys said yes to that opportunity to come to Oregon, 2 months ago?
Something like that.
Thanks for that. Appreciate it.
Okay, love you guys. Stay awesome.
Excited to see where it goes from here.
See you in the flow.
Bye.
Excited to see where it goes from here. See you in the flow.
We are just being in the forest and the nature. That's how we can be.
So what we want to show you, what I'm trying to show, is just the luminosity on this tree right here, and the light and the magic of this nature that we are in. And can you hear the wind? Yes. Can you hear the wind?
I can feel the wind.
I'm asking them.
They can.
They can.
I can smell the wind.
They know the wind.